Hello. It's good to see everyone. I'm Randy Doms, the principal here at Mentone Elementary School. And I want to first start off just by saying, veterans, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate you, and this program is about you. I remember some of my greatest memories as a child were when my great-grandfather would tell me about World War II, when he fought in World War II, and told me a lot of stories that happened, and that really helped shape me in who I became. I'd like to stand here and say, you know, this was all my idea, but I got to tell you it's not. We have somebody, a wonderful lady, who has come in, who has put in a lot of time and effort into making this program special for you. And I'd like everyone in the school, and veterans, if you could give a nice round of applause to Mrs. Swihart. Mrs. Swihart, thank you for this event.
By saying what a privilege it is for us to be here today to honor you in this fashion. If you would please now, all of you stand. We're going to have our student council come forth, and they're going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Then if you remain standing immediately following the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll be singing the Star-Spangled Banner. And at this time, we're going to ask Miss Tinky. She's our music teacher here at Mentone Elementary, and she's going to have our students sing "Thank You, Soldiers."
Hallelujah.
Thank you, students. Let's give them all a hand. I want to thank all of our veterans and guests and students and faculty here to this program to honor our veterans today. Some in our midst have served in World War II, Korean War, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and we just want to thank you so much, Iraq as well. We want to thank you so much for your service. Each came with its own challenges and its own pain. But one thing that you all have in common is that the family that you left behind were there praying for you and remembering you. Our theme today is that you are remembered, and you were remembered. I want to reassure you that each of us who was left behind, because my husband is here today and he was in the Air Force, we prayed for you and we definitely remembered you. And we will never forget what you have done for your country. We as a community have many opportunities during the year to show our gratitude to our military and our flag as well. We want to show you the gratefulness that we feel to you and pay you honor for the sacrifices that you have made. Memorial Day was started after the Civil War in 1868. It was created to honor the Americans who died while fighting for their country. And students, a lot of this information is for you. I want today to educate you as well in the opportunities that you have to say thank you. And on Memorial Day, it isn't just a day off to have fun, it's a day to remember those that have served and fought. Flag Day. Flag Day is celebrated on June the 14th. Sometimes we forget about this little holiday stuck in the middle of June. We're thinking ahead to the 4th of July. But Flag Day commemorates the adoption of the flag of the United States, which happened on that day in 1777. How many of you children can remember back that far? Even some of us adults can't remember back that far. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson issued a proclamation that officially established June 14th as Flag Day. In August 1949, National Flag Day was established as an act of Congress. In our home, we have a big flagpole that sits out in our backyard that we have the flag on, and I also put a bunting out, and it is a sign of love and respect to fly your flag on these days. At this time, we're going to have some 4th grade children come forth, and they're going to give us 3 essays that they have written about our flag.
My name's Brianna Clodfelter, and I'm going to read my flag essay. When I see our flag, our country's flag, I'm proud of being in this country. I also think of how proud I am for our soldiers that fought for our country. I'm especially proud of having our flag. It is a big honor to our country. I think that it is the best thing for our country. When I see it, it makes me feel free. It makes me feel excited to say the pledge every morning at school. I think I am honored to have this flag be a part of my life. I also think that the flag is a very beautiful sight. I'm very proud of our flag, of the flag.
My name's McKenna Rensler, and this is my flag essay. When I see our country's flag, I think about our independence and how people sacrificed their lives for our freedom. I think about the War of 1812 when our flag was still standing after the bombing. I think about the Pledge of Allegiance and giving our allegiance to the flag. I think about how many people have sacrificed their lives for us. My favorite song to think about when I see the flag is the national anthem. When I see the country's flag, I think about Flag Day and all those flags being burnt because they had a tear or were starting to fall apart. When I see the flag, I think about my friends and relatives, how they pray soldiers will come home. I think about all the wars and how many people have died. I think about the flag we have to get to our one flag now with 50 stars and 13 stripes.
Hi, my name is Macy Peterson. What I think about when I see our country's flag is what we are free of. We should be thankful that we are free of assembly, worship, movement, speech and press, and freedom to vote for government and president. What I also think when I see our country's flag is of the past veterans. They fought and died to serve our country. They kept us safe and worked all night, but when the flag raised, they didn't stop working. They served for all Americans, and I'm thankful for them. Another thing I think when I see our country's flag is how it should be kept. The flag should be held high and not touch the ground. It should be raised briskly and be lowered softly. A light should be shown on the flag at nighttime. The flag should not be used as a decoration. That's what the flag means to me.
I'm glad one of them mentioned the War of 1812 because the Star-Spangled Banner, of course, as many of us adults know, was written by Francis Scott Key, and he was under scrutiny of the British soldiers. He was actually on a British ship during this battle, but they did allow him to watch as our forces at Fort McKinley were suffering heavy bombardment from their ships. That was on September 13th, 1814. And he later wrote, "It seemed as though Mother Earth had opened and was vomiting shot and shell in a sheet of fire and brimstone. But when darkness arrived, I saw only red erupting in the night sky." Given the scale of the attack, Key was certain that the British would win. The hours passed slowly, but in the clearing smoke of the early dawn, on September the 14th, 1814, he saw the American flag still raised over Fort McKinley, and that announced the American victory. Soldiers had stayed their post. On the 4th of July, this is the day that we pause to reflect again on our nation's birth and the battles that were won and lost at great human sacrifice to ensure our basic freedoms. We were a young nation, struggling, sacrificing. The Declaration of Independence was signed on this date, and it was later ratified in 1789 by Congress. And children, here again, I want you to think about this, because when we see the fireworks flashing in the sky, and it is an awesome, awesome opportunity to see a spectacle of lights and sound. But just remember what that stands for, because that is just a tiny little bit of a reflection of a battle. Thomas Jefferson felt that the Constitution included few explicit guarantees of our personal liberties. And he asked another statesman, James Madison, and children, you can ask your teachers about James Madison later because he was a really great statesman. And he asked him to propose a Bill of Rights of some kind to Congress. The 10 amendments were added to more clearly detail these freedoms. There are 10 of them, and when we say that we fight to make men free, you fight to make men free, these are the freedoms that are clearly stated and written down and made law by our Congress over 225 years ago. I'd like to read but the first of these amendments. Children, I want you to listen carefully and remember them. For these are precious words, and they're not to be forgotten by free men anywhere. The First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or the prohibiting the free exercise of that religion, therefore, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for a redress of any grievance. John Hartford, in a speech a few years back, said, "The greatest glory of a free-born people is to transmit that freedom to our children." Since 9/11/01, and many of you were not even born at that time, our nation's sense of patriotism and respect for our nation's real heroes has grown immensely. It is as if our nation was awakened from years of complacency after a very long Vietnam War and disrespect that came with that by some towards our servicemen and women that served during that time. We have a renewed realization in our country that our warriors are to be honored, that they are to be honored and respected. And we owe them our deepest thanks. The Vietnam War was completed on November 10th, 1984. Over 58,272 names of our fallen soldiers are carved in a memorial in Washington, D.C. And on April 29th, 2004, the World War II Memorial, Veterans Memorial, was also added and placed in meaningful holy ground. The flights of the honor flight are provided expense-free to those brave men and women who wish to pay homage to their fallen brothers and sisters in uniform. I'd like to take a moment to show a video of this wonderful opportunity that they have to be blessed.
The memorial is breathtaking. In my mind, the memorial represents freedom for the world. To this day, all of the Pacific is free, all of Europe is free, and thank God America is free.
Honor Flight provides, at no cost to the veteran, the opportunity to see the memorial that the American people have built on our National Mall. And I think that there's probably no better organization out there today that can provide something to somebody for nothing.
If anyone wants to see the importance of Honor Flight, look into the veterans' eyes and how they tear up when they are brought here.
You guys ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go.
We'd like to thank each and every one of you. It's truly a privilege to serve you today.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
When they walk into that memorial and they see that their friends will never be forgotten, that the sacrifice that they paid will always be cherished, always revered, always honored by this nation, they're taken back by that. For the World War II veterans, This is their last hurrah. They don't have reunions anymore. Most of their comrades in arms have all passed away. Quite often they are the sole survivors of that tank crew or that ship or that air crew. Bringing them into their memorial, they come there representing all of their friends.
Just have to remember where so many comrades are laying out there yet. And just one of these things, you know, before I die, I wanted to see it. Now I can go home, and if I croak, so what? I did it.
I'm just sorry my wife couldn't be here. She died about 6 months ago.
It's the best program I've ever been associated with. You know, we're all in the same fraternity. If it hadn't been for these guys, I don't know where we'd be today or what language we'd speak.
I say about the terrorist, Al-Qaeda, if it weren't for these guys, we wouldn't have to worry about terrorists today. We'd already be occupied. We'd already be a different country. So we owe them a lot.
There are families that we will call up and say, we have a seat available for your dad, only to be told that Dad did not survive the winter. We're racing against a clock. In another 5 to 7 years, it'll be a moot point. They will be gone. We're working as fast as we can, but we need so much support from so many people to make these dreams a reality. This is probably the last chapter in their lives, and for some, it's literally the last paragraph of their lives. What a way to end their stories.
This has been one of the really great days of my life.
I'm sure glad I was able to live long enough to see it.
In May of 2005, after the War Memorial was built for World War II, not until 2004. It was dedicated nearly 59 years after that Great War. We do have a couple of World War II veterans with us today, at least 2 that I know of. Would you stand at this time? Our World War II veterans. I know we have 2. Max, where are you? There we go. Thank you. The greatest generation. At this time, I would like for Mr. Ed Rock to come and sing the song, Some Gave All.
I knew a man called him Sandy King. Few folks even knew his name, but a hero, yes, was he. Left a boy, came back a man. Still many just don't understand about the reasons we are free. I can't forget the look in his eyes, or the tears he cried when he said these words to me. All gave some gave all. Some stood through for the red, white, and blue. Some had to fall. If you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all. Now Sandy King is no longer here, but his words are oh so clear as they echo through our land. For all his friends who gave us all, who stood the ground and took the fall, to help his fellow man. Love your country and live with pride. Don't forget those who died. America, can't you see? All gave some gave all. Some stood through for the red, white, and blue. Some had to fall. If you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Some gave all. If you ever think of me, think of all your liberties and recall. Yes, recall. Some gave all. Some gave all.
Thank you, Mr. Rock. At this time, as is our tradition, we do ask that our veterans, we would like for you to come out here and line up, and I'd like for you to just start right in through here. Be careful of the cord. And then we're going to ask your children that are here, to, that invited you here today, to come down and join you. So if you could just come out and stand out here. We want the tallest to the shortest. So, no, just kidding. And students, if you would very orderly come down, please, and stand next to your guest and teachers. Staff members, everyone is welcome to come down and join your guest. At this time, we're going to ask our student council members and also, I believe, our kindergarten students, if I'm not mistaken. I'd like for you to, we have pins that the student council members are going to present, and we also have our kindergarten students. May I see kindergarten somewhere? Okay, good. And we're going to have them give you a poppy as well. And they have made these poppies for you. Watch the cord. Watch the cord. Very carefully. That's good. Thank you. This is a photo op too, if anybody wants to take pictures. I can get back out of the way, sit down even. Watch the cord, watch the cord, watch the cord. There we go. This is a recording. Watch the cord. How are we doing? Still have a few poppies to pass out, or are we good? Come on down, Kennedy. Come on, Kennedy, I'm sorry. I guess I should go stand with my husband, but I can't take a picture, so that's my husband right there. Served in the U.S. Air Force. Isn't this wonderful? Look at all of these individuals, and I'm sure that there are others that would have loved to join us. They also had a program at the middle school this year, which we're glad that they were also able to honor their veterans. Okay, everyone have a poppy and a pin? Are we done, ladies and gentlemen? Watch the cord, watch the cord. I'm gonna stand right here. Okay, thank you. We'd like for you to go ahead and have a seat now. Yeah, let's give him a big round of applause. Watch the cord, don't run. I'll have to lay down on it, I guess. Okay. Students, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for your respectful and courteous way that you have been in the program. I think just about everyone has taken their seat now. President John F. Kennedy said, "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, we will bear any burden, we will meet any hardship. We will support any friend. We will also oppose any foe to assure the survival and the success of liberty." He also wrote, "The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission." John F. Kennedy. I want to thank each one of you who has stood strong and bold. I thank you for your sacrifice to ensure our freedom and all of our liberties. To close this program, we're going to play a medley from the Armed Forces with all of your anthems. And I'd like for you to stand as each of your songs are played. Oh, children, you may sit. This is for our veterans. And when you hear your song being sung, I'd like for you to stand. And children, these are the anthems that are played for the different branches of the military.
Marching all about, and those guitar go rolling along.
My prayer for each of you gathered here today is to thank God for those who stand strong in the face of evil, and that we will teach our children and our grandchildren that freedom did not come without sacrifice, and that more sacrifice will surely be required in the future to remain free. My prayer is that we will stand proudly as the flag is carried high in a parade, that we will put our hands over our hearts when the national anthem is played. My prayer is that our veterans will always feel our love and know that they were never forgotten, and that we will always be remembering them in our prayers. God bless America. Thank you very much.